Good evening. It's Friday, July 31st, 8:30 p.m. We're going to go over some latest numbers and news, SARS-2 related. So for today's numbers on Worldometer, number one was USA with 70K, India second, 57K, Brazil third, 52K, South Africa fourth, 11K. In terms of deaths, we have USA with 1,462 new deaths today, Brazil 1,191, India 765, and Mexico 639. If you look at the graph, as I was saying yesterday, the graphs are starting to change. This daily cases is becoming one massive rise, and the daily deaths graph is heading towards this same direction right here. Now, it's important that we realize that this is official data, and we cannot trust official data. We cannot trust what China's Communist Party has put out, and we can trust the other countries that have been obviously lying and covering up their real numbers. These are already considered outdated numbers. We cannot know the real numbers. There's no point in trying to know the real numbers. All we know is that we are in a dire situation, and we have to get the information out. We have to inform people to protect themselves when it comes to this virus. And so if we also look at other countries, Peru didn't report. Countries like Netherlands didn't report any deaths. China, you can't even take China seriously at this point. Oman didn't report. Cameroon didn't report. Nicaragua didn't report. Somalia didn't report. We have countries swamped in backlogs. We have people it's just a horrible situation that we're in right now. Let's go USA state by state. And if it will let me. Number one was Texas with 9,700 cases, new cases. Florida, second with 9,000 new cases. California, third with 7,800. Georgia, fourth, 4,000 new cases. In terms of deaths, Texas, 295. Florida, 256. California, 191. Georgia, 81. So, those of you who have been following my videos from the beginning, we were in the single digit. We were in the double digits. Then we went to the triple digits. Now we're in the 200s, and now we're approaching the 300s. And the deaths are climbing on all the states. Just a surge of deaths. And then prisons didn't report. Navajo Nation didn't report. Military, almost 2,000 new cases. 8 deaths. A lot of veterans getting infected. 24 veteran deaths. They're very vulnerable, which is why they have so much more deaths than the military. Jeez. So we'll see how this. Well, today's Friday, so numbers are gonna slow down. Saturday, which is tomorrow. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're gonna get back to the high numbers, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Now for the news, I do have. What is it? 1, 2. I got 3 reports to do to finish off. I was supposed to do them yesterday. So, CDC report number 55, brain damage pandemic edition. SARS-2 pandemic could cause a wave of brain damage, scientists warn. The virus could cause neurological complications, including stroke, nerve damage, and potential fatal brain inflammation, even if the patients didn't show severe respiratory symptoms associated with the disease. Now, we already knew this, but it's just coming out more and more and more, and people who casually watch the news are now starting to see this kind of situation. Study warning that it remains to. Study warning that it remains to be seen whether we will see an epidemic on a large scale of brain damage linked to the pandemic. Follow-up studies will be necessary to understand the potential long-term neurological consequences of the pandemic, they said. This is a virus we don't know the long-term effects for, and so far it's looking pretty grim. The study, published in the journal Brain, examined 43 patients treated at University College London hospitals for either confirmed or suspected coronavirus from April to May. They varied in age from 16 to 85 and showed a range of mild to severe symptoms. Among these patients, researchers found 10 cases of temporary brain dysfunction and delirium, 12 cases of brain inflammation, 8 cases of strokes, and 8 cases of nerve damage. One woman hallucinated lions and monkeys in her house. Others reported numbness in their limbs or face, double vision, and disorientation. One severe patient was barely conscious, responding only when in pain. We've already seen that some people with SARS-2 may need a long rehabilitation period, both physical rehabilitation, such as exercise, and brain rehabilitation. We need to understand more about the impact of this infection on the brain. Now here, COG report number 56. Zheng Lishi, mother of the devil, speaks out. Now this is a response, supposedly a response by Zheng Lishi, the Batwoman from China, that's 2 months late. That is obviously not even her. This is an obviously crafted response created by the CCP to just discourage any kind of truth telling. We can't take it seriously, but we have to analyze it. We have to look at the lies. We have to look at the lies. She, the center of SARS-2 origin theory, discovered the virus in late 2019 from patients who had a pneumonia of unknown origin. Before that, we had never been in contact with or studied the virus, nor did we know of its existence. Scientists from around the world have overwhelmingly concluded that SARS-2 originated naturally, rather than from any institution. Trump's claim that SARS-2 was leaked from our institute really contradicts the facts. He owes us an apology, she said. Yeah, so China's CCP is a little triggered to be demanding an apology. She stressed that over the past 15 years, her lab has isolated and grown in culture only 3 bat coronaviruses related to one that infected humans. SARS from 2003. The more than 200 other bat coronaviruses the lab has detected, including one that is 96.2 identical to SARS-CoV-2, are simply genetic sequences that her team has extracted from animals. I think they're referring to the RATG13 with the 96%. Our team collected samples in Huanan's seafood market. We detected SARS-2 nucleic acids only in the environmental samples, such as a roller shutter door handles, the ground, and sewage, but not in animals. So, China has been saying for months, the CCP has been saying for months, that it started from an animal in the wet market. But even they themselves admit that they did not find the trace of the virus on an animal in the wet market, but on the environment. So they have essentially outed themselves with this statement. Did SARS-2 start before December 30th? I don't know much about it. That's a lie. She is the professional virologist on the virus. She would have known if it was there before December 30th. There are many people who have said it was there before December 30th. Bat to pangolin, I can't determine whether pangolins are the natural host or an intermediate host. There has to be a lie too. There are many studies on pangolins in the relation to the SARS-2 virus. How can she claim she doesn't know? She says origin is still unknown. A lab leak. To date, no pathogen leaks or personal infection accidents have occurred. What is she talking about? There have been cases of lab leaks. She also denied working on gain-of-function experiments. Really? She's email answers came 2 months after the questions and possibly carefully vetted by the Chinese government. Most of these answers are formulaic, almost robotic, reiterations of statements previously made by Chinese authorities media, Ebright says. On February 2nd, she posted a note on her social media site that SARS-2 was nature punishing the uncivilized habits and customs of humans, and she was willing to bet my life that the outbreak has nothing to do with the lab. So they're backwards. So I think what it really means is that it had everything to do with the lab. CBG report number 58. We will not be held liable for our vaccines edition. Countries cannot hold AstraZeneca responsible if SARS-2 vaccine shows side effects. AstraZeneca has been granted protection from any lawsuits or liability claims in the future concerning its coronavirus vaccine. The liability claim protection is applicable for almost all countries with which the pharmaceutical giant has signed an agreement for COVID-19 vaccine testing, development, and supply. At the moment, AstraZeneca has struck an agreement with almost 25 countries that are testing its much-anticipated coronavirus vaccine. Hundreds and thousands of people in these countries are expected to be immunized if the vaccine proves to be effective in large-scale human trials. However, the agreement clarifies that the countries cannot and will not hold the pharmaceutical company liable for any damages in case the side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine shows up a few months or years down the line. This is a unique situation where we as a company simply cannot take the risk if in 4 years the vaccine is showing side effects. Ruud Dobber, a member of AstraZeneca's senior executive team, said in an interview. In the contracts we have in place, we are asking for indemnification. For most countries, it is acceptable to take that risk on their shoulders because it is in their national interest. Dober would not name the countries. In order for a vaccine to be safe for the public, it needs to go to trials, and some trials may take years. And yet we have people releasing rushed, unsafe vaccines just ready to pump it into billions. And you can tell that it's going to go bad because they're already passing laws that'll not make them liable for vaccine side effects. If this isn't obvious, I don't know what the word obvious means. That these vaccines are not going to work. And it's just incredible. It's incredible that this is the point that we've reached. But Bill Gates did mention this a couple of days ago, that vaccines could have side effects later on. So that it shows the importance of releasing safe vaccines. But I will remind you today, once again, that no coronavirus has a vaccine. No vaccine whatsoever. There was a vaccine trial carried out in feline coronaviruses, and the vaccines did the opposite effect, and they made the felines worse, and they killed them. So we don't have the hopes for a vaccine are low. The fact that Dr. Yan found that antibody tests, the antibodies are fading after a couple of months, is another thing that cripples vaccine research. You can't have a vaccine if the antibodies are losing their effectiveness. And so it's a grim situation. Now, I'm not trying to say that we're all going to die. It's just we have to look at the reality of the situation. The fact that there is so much cover-up by the Chinese Communist Party, so much cover-up by the United States and other countries and governors and politicians, we have to expose this to people. We have to talk about how HDQ can help against the virus, how there are campaigns to discredit HDQ, faulty fake studies that are discrediting hydrochloroquine or HDQ when it actually works. India has a lot of deaths. We can put that on the side, but they also had a lot of success with HDQ. The president of the U.S. takes HDQ. The president of Brazil took HDQ. There's not a single official in China that has gotten infected because they all took HDQ. And at the same time, these governments are telling the people that this drug does not work. What are they encouraging? Are they encouraging deaths? So thank you, and I'll see you the next time.